There's been horrific footage of a dog attack in Birmingham over the weekend, and it has prompted calls for all of, and it's this brand, XL bully dogs to be outlawed. I'll show you what's happened. Obviously, a warning, this is potentially quite distressing. So what we see here is an 11-year-old girl and then two men who intervened. This is a petrol forecourt. All three... You see the dog there just coming in. I mean, it's extraordinary footage and difficult to watch. Obviously, we've blurred things because it's... I mean, it sort of winces. Someone earlier was saying, I've just got, you know, goosebumps watching this. You know, this is in the UK, we're not in America. Bullies have been connected to 9 deaths in the UK since 2021. Now, in a response, having watched that video footage, the Home Secretary has said, look, I want urgent advice into how we can outlaw these dogs. And what's that kind of process? 4 breeds have already been banned in the UK. That includes the American Pit Bull Terrier. But underground breeders are mixing legal pit bulls with other dogs, and that's then causing these deadly combinations. To give you an idea of sort of just how dangerous these dogs are, we are 270 times more likely to be killed, this is according to Bully Watch UK, by American bullies than any other breed. So is it time to introduce breed-specific legislation? Someone who knows much about this than me is animal behaviourist Hannah Molly, and my panel are here. Still two, Laura Dodsworth and Joanna Jarju. Hannah, this breed, what do we know about it? And the behaviour that we've just witnessed from it, is that typical?
The difficulty is that this breed is very difficult to pin. XL bullies are quite a new breed. They have been back-crossed with American Pit Bulls, absolutely. But then they're newish, but they're not, they've been around for a long time. Bull crosses have been around for a really long time. So the behaviour of a bull-type dog, which is to, you know, to want to jump and charge and hold things and rag things, very similar to lots of other breeds of dog. If you look at a Yorkshire Terrier or a Jack Russell, they do the same thing with a toy. It's just these dogs have got the muscle behind them to inflict quite serious injury. So, yeah, the difficulty is, I would say, is that not all dogs who look like that behave like that. And when I see footage like this, what I see really is a traumatised dog who has been really badly treated and is expressing a high degree of frustration in a very dangerous way.
So for you, is there something sort of innate in the dog, maybe in its DNA, that means it's got more aggressive tendencies, or is this down to manhandling, obviously inadequate training from the owner?
Yeah, this is the problem. I don't think we have enough data to suggest that this dog's breed and its physiology are definitely going to lead to that behaviour. This is the problem. So I think it's very much more to do with the way the dog is raised that can lead to that kind of
So you
situation.
disagree with the Home Secretary who says that we've got to outlaw these?
Yes, I think we really need to take this situation very seriously. We have a national responsible dog ownership crisis. Please don't hear what I'm not saying. That's horrendous, and we never want to see a dog that is dangerously out of control like that. It's not necessary, and we do need to safeguard the public. But I think we risk here looking after the public in a much bigger way if we just focus on this one breed type and this one context.
The thing that people will argue back with, though, is this specific breed of dog's been linked to 9 deaths since 2021. At what point do we say the life of the animal is being protected more so than the life of someone it might attack and kill?
Oh, I hear you. And I don't want to protect the animal more than I want to protect the public. I just actually want to protect the public. I want to make sure that the next thing that we do is not another knee-jerk reaction. BSL has not protected the UK.
Is it knee-jerk to say that species has proved itself to be too dangerous in these situations?
Well, I mean, I think I hear what you're saying, and I'm a huge dog lover, and I'm a dog owner, mummy to a little mongrel dog, and I've been bitten by a couple of dogs, and I didn't want that breed to be put on a banned list or for those dogs to be destroyed, not at all. However, the thing about this breed is it's got these really big, powerful jaws. It's potentially such a dangerous dog. So it is different to other breeds. And you know, you said it was a traumatised dog. Well, I'm going to make a bit of a broad generalisation that you might disagree with, but it seems to me that a lot of these really dangerous breeds are desired by the wrong sort of people. And, you know, they've been linked to criminal gangs as well. So is there actually a case to ban a dog like this when we know that the wrong, in inverted commas, sort of people want to own it who won't teach it right, who won't train it right?
I think ultimately, if you've got a dog who is already illegal, like the pit bull is illegal, and if we're going to argue that the XL bully is a bigger pit bull, then creating another law isn't going to make a difference, is it? If there is a criminal element here, I think the other thing we know about XL bullies is, and actually dog bites in general, is they're very closely linked to socio-economic deprivation. So places that have a higher degree of poverty, you're likely to see a higher degree of bites. And that's really important for us to look at, because when we see instances like this, the only thing that we can string together is that these dogs look the same. And that's it. That's all we have to go on. We haven't done enough research.
But what looks the same is their huge jaws and their big teeth.
Yes.
And
exactly.
what research do you want? Does there become a threshold where you say, well, there's been so many deaths now that we say that's enough? You know, that's not an experiment someone's going to say, I'm happy to run that.
Of course not.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that there could be loads of other causative factors. So we're jumping on this. They look the same, therefore everything that looks like that dog should be destroyed or heavily controlled for. Now, I wouldn't be against doing something like saying, I don't know, let's pause the breeding of that dog for, say, 5 years. If
it seems like who's breeding them, though, are these underground gangs, you know, otherwise we wouldn't see them because they're these crossbreeds that we know are potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
I think as a member of the public who's never had a dog, I like to look at dogs from a distance and sometimes pet them if they're small enough. I think that across the board, we should look at licensing when it comes to dog owners, because to me, from my perspective, any dog has the potential to be dangerous if it's in the wrong hands. Obviously, we're getting the data and the numbers when it comes to this particular breed of dog, but I do agree with you that it does matter about the person who owns the dog and how they behave and if it is a traumatized dog. So I think it's kind of a sticking plaster kind of approach, really, for the Home Secretary to kind of say, well, we'll just ban this one, then we discover there's another one, then we ban that one. It doesn't really, across the board, get to the root of the issue, and it doesn't also consider the safety and well-being of the actual pet itself. I think it's a privilege and a responsibility to own a pet, especially if it's a dog that could potentially be dangerous.
If the root of the issue is one breed, that when it's crossbred with others, a big cause is some of accidents like this, is there not a case, maybe, Laura, to say, right, we do ban them?
Well, I think so, because I think the lives of the children and the people that are being killed outweigh this, you know, this particular breed. And what's happened is people have tried to circumvent a law. Oh, well, you know, American pit bulls aren't allowed in this country, so let's cross the American pit bull with another dog. I mean, it's just trying to find a way around the rules to keep breeding a dog which is potentially really dangerous. And I know it won't be all of them, but these isolated cases are tragic. That clip was horrendous.
It was horrendous. I think we really need to say to ourselves, though, what does responsible dog ownership in this country look like? We have this one perfect storm, horrendous situation that could bring so much more,
What do you mean?
higher level. Well, we've never had this much media coverage on this particular area of legislation for 30 odd years. People have been talking about changing BSL, about improving responsible dog ownership, but we really have an opportunity now to raise the bar across the board for dog owners. You know, if we say we slam this one dog onto the banned breeds list, and then next year they say, okay, well, we'll just get a Neapolitan Mastiff or like a different dog and crossbreed it with that and make the new scary dog, we haven't addressed the issue, which is that people feel the need to have protection dogs. I would argue because we have less police, people feel unsafe in their environments, and those are issues, unfortunately, that take longer to fix.
It's possible to do both things at the same time,
Exactly.
though, isn't it?
Yes,
you could
it
ban
is.
the breed and try and engineer some of that social change, and that might mean fewer lives lost.
Perhaps, but even banning the breed, logistically, if we play out what that would look like, I don't think that's going to safeguard the public. I would stand by it, I really would, if I thought that it was the right thing to do.
The only thing that's difficult about this is when you do see a news story of a child that has been hurt, naturally, you kind of go into more of your emotional side and you just think, you know what, just get rid of the dogs, even if it's for 6 months or something, like we just said, you know, just to make sure that nobody else gets hurt. But I do agree with you that I don't think that it's a long-term issue, but instantly, obviously, as somebody who's slightly scared of dogs, I'd say ban them straight away. But I don't think that it's a solution that can go on and you just keep banning them and banning them and banning them for different breeds.
Joanna, Laura, hold right there. Hannah, thank you so much. It's been brilliant to have your insight on the programme.